This was the first lesson that we did in class this semester. There were some words that we went over: exponents, exponential form. Also, we talked about a base. This is a base. So if you're going to want to express 7 times 7 times 7 as in an exponential form, you're going to keep the base, and then you're going to tell me how many times you're multiplying 7 by itself. So it's 1, 2, 3. So it's 7 to the third power. So 7 is the base, and 3 is the exponent. For B, 3 is the base, and 3 is the exponent. For C, 6 is the base. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we have to the power 6. And then for D, we have two different bases. We have 3, which is raised to the 4th power, and we have 17 that is raised to the 4th power. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a dot here, and that dot means multiplication. So the words that we talked about is base. We also talked about exponents, and we talked about exponential form. And that was a starting vocabulary for this lesson. This was an example that you did on your own. Remember, 8 is the base, and we have 8 times 8 times 8, so that's going to be expressed in exponential form, so it's 8 to the 3rd power. We have 3, and it's going to be raised to the 4th power. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 10, which is raised to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 6th power. And then for D, we have 5 raised to the 3rd power times 4 raised to the 4th. Now, in my math lab, it will tell you to evaluate, and that means just to find the product. You're going to have to actually multiply it out. For example, if my math lab said evaluate 3 to the 4th, then you'd have to figure out what is 3 to the 4th power, which is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay. In this next part, we talked about perfect numbers since we're talking about square roots, and we said 1 times 1 is 1 squared, which is equal to 1. 2 times 2 is 2 squared, which is equal to 4. 3 times 3 is 3 squared, which is equal to 9. We have 4 times 4, which is 16. Which is 4 squared, which is equal to 16. 5 times 5 is 5 squared, which is 25. 6 times 6 is 6 squared, which gives you 36. 7 times 7 is 7 squared, which is 49. We have 8 times 8, which is 8 squared, which is 64. And we have 9 times 9, which gives you, 9 squared, which is 81. And we also have 10 times 10, which is 10 squared, which gives you 100. The square root is going in the reverse. So if you want to find the square root of 25, we know that it's going to be the square root of 5 squared, and so it's just going to be 5. It's going to be that one number itself. Okay. Square root of 81 is the same thing as saying square root of 9 squared, and it's the reverse process. In other words, what number do you square to get 81, which is 9? So that's square root. The square root of 100 is 10 squared, so we know it's 10 that you multiply to 10 to get 100. So the square root is what we call the inverse operation, or the opposite operation. And we have the square root of 4, which is going to be 2 squared, which is going to be 2. We did talk about order of operations. We have P, E, M, D, A, S, and we know that P stands for parentheses. And we know that E stands for exponents. We have M, which is multiplication. We have D is for division. A is for addition. And S is for subtraction. Now you got to remember with these, it's whatever comes first, because we're going from left to right. And we're going from left to right. And that's the problem with PEMDAS, is you need to understand which one will come first. In this case, it's multiplication or division, addition or subtraction. So in the case of example 3, we didn't have parentheses. We didn't have exponents. But we do have multiplication that comes first. So it's 8 minus 3 divided by 3. The next is division. So we have 8 minus 1. So that gives us 7. Example 4, we didn't have parentheses. We didn't have exponents. We do have multiplication, which came first. So we have 27 minus 8 divided by 4. And I do recommend you writing the steps in order for you to make sure you know the order. So you have 27 minus, the next is division, 8 divided by 4 is 2. So the last is subtraction, which is 25. We're going to do example 5, and you notice we still don't have parentheses, but we do have exponents. 4 squared is 16 divided by 2 times 4. And this is a good example here. You notice that division comes first. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. So we have 8 times 4, which gives us 32. So it's 4 squared, which is 16, divided by 2, which is 8, and then 8 times 4 is 32. Now in this case, we have example 6. We have 48 divided by 3 times 2 to the second. And you notice the exponent is on the way right. Well, you're still going to go ahead and start with that. So you have 48 divided by 3 times 2 squared, which is 4. So now you're going to go left to right, and you see we have 48 divided by 3. That is 16 times 4. And then the last step is 16 times 4, which is 64.